Let's talk about securing AI, because it's one of the biggest puzzles in tech right now. And here's the thing, there's no single magic bullet. It's all about having a really solid plan. So today, we're going to break down a 5-pillar framework that shows you exactly how to build AI that we can actually genuinely trust.
Think about it. Every single AI you use, whether it's a photo app on your phone or a complex medical tool, it all runs on data. A lot of the time, that data is super personal. It might even be your data. So that leads to a pretty huge question, right? Who's actually standing guard and protecting all of it?
Well, the answer isn't some secret magical algorithm. The real answer is a structured, disciplined plan. See, building AI that we can count on means thinking about security and privacy from the very first moment, not as some add-on at the end. And that is exactly what this 5-pillar framework is all about.
All right, let's dive into our first pillar. This is all about creating the rulebook. I mean, before you can even think about protecting data, you need a crystal clear set of rules that everybody on the team gets and follows. This is the bedrock for everything else we're going to talk about.
Now, the official fancy term for this rulebook is data governance. But at its heart, the goal is actually pretty simple. It's about knowing exactly what data you have, especially the sensitive stuff, what we call personally identifiable information, or PII, and then creating a consistent, repeatable system for how it's handled.
So, how do you actually build this rulebook? Well, you start by sorting your data into buckets. Is it public? Super sensitive. Then you give people clear jobs. Who owns this data? Who protects it? You make sure you're getting data from legit places, you only collect what you absolutely have to, and, this is a big one, you have a plan to get rid of it when you're done. Every step is about building accountability right into the process. And the payoff for doing all this, it's huge. You don't just get a more secure system. You get a system that's transparent, one that's auditable. You can literally prove that you're doing the right thing. And when you're trying to build trust, that's absolutely everything.
So, we've got our rulebook. Now we move on to pillar number 2, building the digital fortresses to keep the data safe. This is where we get into the really heavy-duty, technical side of security. At the very core of any digital fortress is encryption. Now, data exists in 2 states: at rest, when it's just sitting on a server, and in transit, when it's zipping across a network. For data that's sitting still, we use things like AES 256, which is basically military-grade stuff. For data on the move, protocols like TLS 1.3 lock it down. Just think of them as unbreakable digital safes for your data, no matter where it is.
But you know, a fortress needs more than just strong walls. It needs guards. It needs gatekeepers. And that's where these controls come in. Role-based access means only people with the right job get a key. Multi-factor authentication is like asking for a password and a fingerprint scan to prove you are who you say you are. And a zero-trust setup? It's like the ultimate bouncer. It trusts no one by default and checks ID every single time. When you put it all together, that powerful encryption and those super strict access rules, you create what we call a hardened environment. And that just means you can guarantee 3 things. Your data stays secret, no one can tamper with it, and it's always there when you need it. Okay, so we have our rules and we've built our fortress. But before we launch this AI out into the wild, we need to do a really thorough pre-launch check. This is all about proactively looking for trouble before it has a chance to find you. This process has a name. It's called a Privacy Impact Assessment, or PIA. It's basically a formal review where you systematically hunt for any potential privacy risks in your AI model. And the key word, the most important word here, is before. This isn't about cleaning up a mess, it's about making sure the mess never happens in the first place. So what does a PIA for an AI actually involve? Well, you map out exactly how data flows through the system. You try to think like an attacker and find risks, like maybe someone could re-identify a person from supposedly anonymous data. You have to ask the tough questions like, do we really need this data? And then you have to recommend and crucially document how you're going to fix any problems you find. What you end up with is a crystal clear paper trail. It's documented proof that you've seriously thought about the privacy side of things and you've taken real steps to handle the risks. This isn't just for some auditor, this is how you build real, verifiable trust with your users. Moving on to pillar 4. And folks, this one is completely non-negotiable. You have to know the law. In the world of AI and data, saying "I didn't know" is not an excuse. Legal compliance is an absolutely essential part of building trust.
A really big idea in data law these days is privacy by design. It means you can't just build your AI and then try to slap some privacy features on at the end. It's like building a house and then trying to add the plumbing later. It just doesn't work. Data protection has to be part of the blueprint from day one.
You've probably heard of regulations like GDPR in Europe, right? Well, they give people specific rights over their data. And these aren't just abstract legal concepts. They turn into real technical requirements for your AI. For instance, if the law gives someone the right to deletion, your system has to have a real, working way to actually erase their data for good.
And you know, building these features in from the start does way more than just help you avoid big fines. It shows your users that you fundamentally respect them and their data. And that is how you build the kind of long-term confidence an AI needs to be successful. And that brings us to our fifth and final pillar. This one really ties everything together. The point here is that security isn't just one step or one task. It has to be woven through the entire life cycle of an AI project, from the very first byte of data all the way to the day the model is shut down.
I mean, just look at this timeline. At every single stage, there's a critical security job to do. You're validating data when it comes in. You're training your models in a secure sandbox. You're protecting the live model from attacks. You are constantly monitoring it for anything strange, and when it's all over, you securely delete everything. It's a non-stop cycle.
This really drives the point home. A set-it-and-forget-it approach to security is a recipe for total disaster with AI. A strategy that spans the entire lifecycle is the only way to truly protect information and earn the kind of deep trust these powerful systems demand from us.
So there you have it. Data governance, digital fortresses, pre-launch checks, legal compliance, and lifecycle security. It is so important to see these not as a simple checklist you can just tick off, but as a deeply interconnected system for building AI that's responsible, ethical, and actually worthy of our trust. And that leaves us with one final and pretty critical question to think about. As AI systems make more and more decisions in our lives, how are we going to hold them accountable when things go wrong? Because, let's be honest, they will. And when that happens, having a transparent, secure, and well-documented process isn't just a good idea, it's everything.